Welcome back to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson. Today I'm going to be a guest on Jeremy Miner's NEPQ 3-day workshop for insurance agents. So with that in mind, I went to my archives and pulled up my NEPQ folder because I did go through the course 3 years ago, just to refresh myself on the specific questions that he wants me to cover when it's my turn to go up. In that folder, I found some gold. And what I'm going to show for you today is a live role play between Matt Ryder, Seventh Level's former CEO, and Anthony Vizzari, probably one of the most talented sales professionals I've ever met over at Seventh Level. And 3 years ago, when I went through NEPQ, I had the fortunate luck to get those two to train my team for a month. And I recorded all of those meetings, and this interaction, I was able to get them to do a role play and a simulation of a final expense call. So I'm going to show that for you today. And if you enjoy this, please give this video a like. If you learned something from it, or you just want to tell me how awesome it is, please post a comment. It helps YouTube push this video out to other people who need it. And finally, if you want more information on how to join my agency, Empower Life Group, all of my contact information is in the description below, along with how to join my new book club. We are on our second book right now. We meet every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. This month, we are reading Extreme Ownership, and boy, so far I am learning so much. We're going to be covering the first 3 chapters tomorrow, which if you're watching this video 2 months from now, tomorrow is May 14th, 2025. So without further ado, please enjoy Matt Ryder and Anthony Vizzari.
Right. And I want to tell you a quick story. Have you guys heard of Ryan Serhant? Right. He's a $1 million listing. Yeah. So he's one of my clients. I've been running his sales team for about 2.5 years. I was in New York about a month ago. At his office. He's a really nice guy. Makes about $35 million a year personally, right? So raise your hand if you make more money than Ryan. I can put those hands down, right? So very successful guy, very nice guy as well. He's the most successful real estate agent, I think, in New York, and like one of the top 10 in the entire country. Okay. So I was talking to him and he told me a story. And he was like, so when he was first starting out in sales, it was 2008. He literally started in real estate at the exact same time as the big financial crash, which is not a great time to be in real estate, right? Right. And so he was like, okay, he had a few listings in different areas. So what he would do is hang out in those areas and have a look for like people who looked like they could be looking for an upgrade, mainly pregnant women. Pregnant women potentially need more space. I think we can agree on that. It's a bit of low-hanging fruit there. So he would hang out in Whole Foods and all kinds of places, and he would just talk to pregnant women. All right. And then, so he ended up meeting this lovely lady, and he was like, hey, you look like you could use more space. She's like, I could. It's like, sweet. I have a couple of listings around here. Are you in the neighborhood? Okay, perfect. Took her to listings. Nothing really interested her. She had a budget of like $2 million for like a loft in Soho. So she was like, okay. Anyway, so what he did every single Thursday without a CRM, without automation, is he sent her like 2 listings that he thought she would be interested in. He sent this to her every Thursday for 9 years without a single reply. Right. Then from there, she replied 9 years later. She said, hey, Ryan, sorry I didn't get back to you. I've been a little busy. He was like, not a problem. How are you? So she said, our life circumstances have changed. The kids are growing up now. We need a larger place. We want like a 4 or 5 bedroom in Soho. Our budget's $20 million. He goes, perfect. Showed her the place, sold her a place for, I think, 22, and then sold her an investment property for 17. He made just under $1 million commission. Right? How many of you, if I told you, if you followed up with me every single day, every single week for 9 years, I would give you $1 million. Would you guys do it? Yep. What if I didn't guarantee it? Would you do it?
Nope.
Who here makes more money than Ryan Serhant? Raise your hand. Okay. So to me, that was a lesson. As a person who's a successful sales rep, but not as successful as a salesperson as what Ryan is, it was a lesson to me that said, okay, if this guy is willing to go that far, then why can't I? Because he's busier than me. And so, like, I'm not above. Like, why not call my no-shows every day? Why not call my no sales every day or every week? And so a lot of people will say, well, Ryan's on TV and he's this. And it's like, well, he wasn't always on TV. And he was a hell of a lot more successful than most people before that any of that happened. And it's through sheer force of will and work ethic. And so, like, to me, that was a huge lesson, because I was like, okay, I need to step my game up. I need to start, like, if I want to have a life like his, where I have the option to do whatever I want, I need to start choosing some of the paths that he's taken. And so I started calling every single follow-up. I started creating ecosystems around myself of like, okay, I know where every single person who is a possibility of buying in the next 6 months. I know where they all are. I keep in regular contact with them. And so I became so good at it that I like sort of didn't need new leads anymore, because I was generating referrals. I had my no sales, my no shows, my follow-up, and I was just getting out there and getting after it. And like, it ended up being about 50% of my sales came from new leads, and 50% of my sales came from all of my just sort of management, my pipeline management and referrals. And so it was similar to Jeremy. Like, when Jeremy was making $3 million a year as a commission-only sales rep, 50% of his leads came from straight cold calling. So he was making 1.5 million without cold calling, decided that wasn't good enough, decided to do cold calling as well to bring him up to $3 million a year. So, okay. So why do I say that? Because like, it's really important that if you guys want to be like top earners in your field, and you guys are selling insurance, which like at the moment, it's a phenomenally interesting industry to be able to sell in, because of how the commissions are paid out and all that kind of stuff. And hey, I hope this keeps going. Right. So I think we're in a really, really good spot to be able to really capitalize on not only selling something of great value that really helps people, but being able to be paid out in a way that is like sort of borderline ridiculous. I think we can all agree on that, right? We can all agree. All righty. So the other thing that we're going to learn is objection handling. So we're going to go through two things in our training over the next month. The first is the use of consequence questions, which in this particular niche is quite dark, and you need to kind of learn to embrace the darkness. And then objection handling. So who here feels comfortable objection handling for 10, 15, 20 minutes? Yep. I love it. I absolutely love objection handling. I will send you call recordings of me as soon as they give me an objection. I have to hide my mouth because I start smiling because I think it's adorable. You think you're going to get off this call without giving me your money. That is hilarious. I am going to win. It is a very systemized way of doing things, in the same way that like I listened to a bunch of your calls and all of your openings were identical, right? You can do the same thing in objection handling. It's just about figuring out how, and I'll teach you the exact methodology. I'll give you all the flow charts, the word tracks on how to not handle the objection that they're giving you, but the objection that they're actually feeling, and then how to funnel them into a way where you control the conversation. Because the advantage that we have, guys, is that we know what we're trying to do. You're proactive, they're reactive. If these people made good decisions around this part of their life, they would not be on the call. They make bad decisions around this area, hence why they need your help. So you cannot rely on their default decision-making process to go, yep, sounds good, sign me up. Right? They have to be shown that their instinct is wrong. And that's fine. That's sales. Our job is to teach people and to help people get out of their own way in an area of their life where they fundamentally make mistakes. The problem is you are not selling what you're selling. You are selling the outcome. The vehicle is irrelevant. Right? If I'm selling you sales coaching, I'm just selling you more money. The vehicle happens to be sales coaching. If I'm selling you insurance, I'm selling you protection for your family, right? I'm selling you peace of mind. And so, like, what you're coming up against is a lack of urgency. So if I take someone through and I future pace them out, the potential ramifications of them not making a change, and I go into detail about what will happen on a day-to-day level if they do not have this in place, and I make them contemplate it, right? So I make them contemplate the good. So it's like, hey, so just so I can, oh, it's hard. Anyway, I've never sold final expense. I'll do a role play. I'll show you. Anthony, can you be the prospect?
Let's do it.
Let me get a script up. I'll do a generic script. Give me 2 seconds. I've taught it. I've never sold it myself, but I'll show you. So what I'll show you is like, like what you're selling doesn't matter. Okay. Sales is sales is sales is sales. You're selling people, you're selling emotions, and you're selling outcomes. Okay. Hello, it's my wife. I'm at the home office today. Get out of here. Gotta keep her in check, you know. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So hey Anthony. Anthony, this is just Matt from XYZ insurance company. I believe you'd kind of booked a call or you'd been live transferred, whatever, about possibly getting some protection for your family in case kind of the worst case happens. Is now still an appropriate time?
Yeah, thanks for calling, Matt.
I should start off by asking, have you found what you're looking for, or are you still looking?
No, I'm still looking.
Okay. And I guess like what's like, I'm curious, like when you went through the kind of the XYZ, whatever it is that got you on the call, what is it that kind of attracted your attention to actually booking the call today?
Yeah, I've been seeing some ads pop up for a while, but I'm just looking at how I can get some protection just for the family now that I've got kids and a wife.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I just want to say, like, well done. You know, a lot of fathers and sort of leaders of their family, you know, they kind of keep putting this off because it's an uncomfortable conversation. So I just want to say, well done for kind of being the leader and the father in the family that actually takes this stuff seriously. So can I ask, like, what do you have in place for protection for your family now in case, you know, something does happen to you?
We've got an investment property, but that's about it.
Okay. And I guess, like, have you got any other you know, like liquid cash available, or friends or family or anything that they would use in order to kind of cover these expenses in case something happened?
Got friends and family, but
Okay.
probably not in a position to actually help out if something were to happen.
Okay. And how long has that kind of been your plan to kind of rely on friends and family?
Never really thought about it until recently. So
Okay. What's shifted recently to where that's kind of been front of mind?
just with everything happening in the economy, you know, recession coming, a bit scared about what's going on in terms of work.
Okay.
So I'm just a bit worried.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you like, I guess, like the financial protection that you have in place for your family now?
Not really. The more I think about it, probably the more concerned I am.
Okay. Well, it can't be all doom and gloom, right? You're here, you got an investment property, there's things going on. What is it that you do like about, I guess the sort of plan that you have in place?
I mean, yeah, we've got the investment property there. Like,
Okay.
you know, I like how we've got that. That is a sense of security. So, you know, that's settling in a way.
Okay. Well, it sounds like things aren't going terribly. I think like things are going okay. Is there anything you would change about, I guess, about either the amount of protection that you have right now, or, you know, potentially sort of like how that protection is sort of covered for your family, if you could?
Well, ideally, I wouldn't want to have to sell that property. Like,
okay,
you know,
why is that, if I could ask?
Well, it's been passed down from, from 3 generations. It's not worth a lot, but it's like, it's more of a sentimental thing. So like knowing I would have to potentially sell that isn't something that would sit well for me. Okay.
Well, just so I can, I guess, see the rationale behind why you might be looking for, I guess, a more comprehensive plan in case something does happen to you. I guess what's the main reason for doing it that way rather than just relying on friends and family or just having that property sold?
Yeah, I just, I'm not one to ask people for things. And I think, I think having some sort of coverage is important. Also, the amount as well. I need to be
Okay.
covered for more than what the property's worth. So I'm just looking at what I need to do.
Okay. And before you started talking about, they're looking for ways to get that protection for your family, or like, what have you been doing?
Not really. Just been,
Why,
just
why,
been,
why is that? Why haven't you done anything?
just complacent, I guess. Just,
Okay.
optimistic that nothing bad is really going to happen.
Okay. Well, let's just do this. Make sure that what we do would actually work for you, right? Like, besides just, getting some more baseline protection, or, being able to, I guess, cover the cost of the funeral in case something happens. Like, what are you looking for in terms of, I guess, coverage? Like, what's an ideal criteria for you?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if something bad were to happen, the wife and the kids are taken care of. Like we wouldn't have to pull them out of,
Okay.
the school they're in.
Okay. Okay. The school. All right. I'm assuming the kids like the school and you've got to, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I guess like having the ability to be able to do that, like as a father, being able to ensure that if something does happen, that, that your family is set up if something does happen to you, because we don't know. Unfortunately, we're not given that timestamp when we're born of when we're gonna kick it. Like why is that so important to you now though?
Well, man, like kids are growing up, and
Okay.
I
Okay.
just hate to think of what could actually happen, man. If something were to happen to me, we'd have to sell our home. Like I just don't want to put the family in that position.
Okay. And I guess like talk to me about the money in terms of like potential coverage. Like, do you know what it is you're looking for to be able to mitigate as much risk as possible? Like, are you looking for sort of just straight up 15, $20,000 to be able to cover the funeral costs and stuff like that? Or are you potentially looking for more?
More, yeah.
Okay. 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 Well, let's just do this, right? Let's just say that we are able to help you kind of make sure that all those risks are mitigated and you have the coverage available, to ensure that if something does happen, like your family's covered, you don't have to move schools. Like, I guess, just on a personal level, man, I guess, like, how would that make you feel as kind of the father leader of the family to be able to ensure that you have that level of protection for your family?
Oh man, it'll be a weight off the shoulders for
Okay. Does
sure.
does that mean that you're feeling the weight now?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I
Well,
have
like,
been
how long's that been going on for?
more so the past 6 months, man. Like just following the trends, recession coming. I'm, worried about my job
Okay.
as well. I'm just,
Okay. Okay. And that worry, I guess, is that kind of impacting you anyway? Though?
yeah,
Hello,
yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah. You froze for a second, Matt.
Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Can you hear me? Okay,
Got
so I
you,
said, in that worry, I guess, is that having an impact on you?
man. If it is, if I'm worried about if something happens to me tomorrow, like the family, like that's a massive weight on my shoulders, man. And as the father, it's like,
Okay,
I'd
but
be
like,
so
but
so so
but but
sad.
like, but how would it be different though? If you are able to actually ensure that, like, you
Mm,
as a leader of your family, that you have that level of protection, like, how is that different?
just I'm doing my job. Like I'm being a
Okay,
father, I'm being a husband. I'd feel good about myself.
okay,
I'd feel at ease.
okay. So it's time to make a change, possibly.
I think it is.
Okay, and like, let me ask you a question. Let's just say, you know, nothing changes. You aren't able to get that kind of protection in place over the next 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or even 2 years. Like, what are the possible day-to-day ramifications of you not having that coverage in place in case something does happen to you?
Oh man, we could lose a lot.
Okay, so fight me on it. So say it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's I don't think it would happen, man. Like I think we would be fine either way. Like I said, we do got family, we got the investment
You could you
property.
could sell the house, or you could rely on friends and family.
Yeah, I think there's always that option there. So it is what it is.
Okay, okay. And so, like, you having to, I guess, approach your friends and family and say, hey, listen, in case I do pass away, my plan is to have you cover my family.
Mm.
Is that something that you're willing to settle for?
if I have to, man, like I'm happy to go. Like I guess, I guess if I need to, there's always that option.
Okay, but what if you don't need to?
Well,
What if there's a way
no.
in which you can actually provide that level of protection without having to rely on friends and family? Because I guess the unfortunate reality is, Anthony, that we don't know what position they're going to be in because we don't know the date and time that something's going to happen to you. We just know that it is going to happen. So are you open to looking at things in a different way and getting a different perspective so that you can actually provide the coverage for your family and fulfill those obligations that you have?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, but why though? Like why? Why not just keep putting this off?
Man, I've been putting it off for years.
Why have you been putting it off for years? Like why have you, like have you ever heard the expression heavy is the head that wears the crown?
I have heard that.
Okay, so it's not because the crowns are heavy and they're covered in jewels, it's because of the burden of responsibility. And it's ultimately the responsibility as us as leaders and fathers and leaders in our families and businesses in order to make difficult decisions to put ourselves into positions where we can ultimately win.
Yeah.
And so, like, how much longer do you want to keep putting off and abdicating the responsibility so that your family is actually covered?
Yeah, not much longer, man.
Much longer?
Not long at all. I think that's why I'm here. Like, I want to do something about this. I want to make sure they're protected in case something happens to me.
Okay. Well, like if you're open to it, I think, what we can do from here is kind of take a few details down and see, I guess, how much coverage we need to give your family so that you can have that peace of mind so that when you go to bed tonight, you know that your family's in a position to where, in case something, God forbid, does happen tomorrow, then you're in a position to be able to protect them like a father does. Would that be okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. That'll be good.
All right, cool. So like, obviously, like I don't sell exactly what you sell, right? So like I kind of had to, make shit up on the fly, but like it's about like that was a script, basically word for word, so it's about like the first thing is like connection. So like figuring out why we're here. Now that's going to be different whether you're on a live transfer or whether like depending on how the lead comes in, that's part's going to be kind of fluid. But really what I want to get out of the first part of it is like, what is the intent? Like what is the outcome in which they're looking for, of which I'm going to funnel them into things like protection, stuff like that, right? Depending on what I'm selling exactly. The next thing is situation phase, which is what are they doing about the thing that they're here for? Like, what is their current situation? Then I'm going to take them into problem awareness. In problem awareness, I want to understand a few things. One is, what's the problem? How long has it been a problem? What's causing the problem? And what impact is that problem having on them? Does that make sense? Yep. The next is like solution awareness. So in solution awareness, I want to figure out what is the solution that they're looking for? What is the criteria around that? And then what I'll do is I'll take certain parts of that, I'll emphasize it, and then try and put like an urgency frame on it. Hello, my love. You okay?
That painting for me.
Yeah, I will in a little bit, okay? You ask Mama to do it for now? Thanks, my love. I like her more than you guys. Sorry. Okay. So that's what we're trying to get in solution awareness. So when we get into solution awareness, I want to figure out the real outcome, because like if you guys think that you're selling a dad into funeral protection or final expense, you're not. You're selling him not being a burden on his children. That's what you're selling. Right? Like, because like, how dare you put your kids in that position, in my opinion? Right? Like that's a shitty thing to do to your family. Rely on friends and family selling, it's stupid, right? So don't do it. Like step up, do what you're supposed to. Okay. So then from there, we're looking for a criteria, and then we're looking for a tangible outcome. And then we want to tie an emotion to that. So like if I knew more about it, like very specifically about the exact coverage that you guys sold, then what I would do is try and nail down, like I've heard you guys talk, when you talk in terms of like actual like amounts of protection, what that would give them, that's kind of where you'd start to insert that. Right. And then you'd lump that all into like, you being able to make sure that there is, extra on top or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Then you can tie that to like an emotion of what they'd be able to provide for their family. Then from there, you tie that, you then go to the negative. So now you future pace the positive in solution. Then we go to the negative in consequence. And the important thing about that, and why I got him to push back on me, is because like you need to understand the actual day-to-day ramifications of doing nothing. Like that, it has to be said. And if it's not said, there's no urgency. So if you look at it this way, there's pressure and there's tension. Pressure is like an outside force acting in. So whenever you've gone to like a car dealership and someone's like, what's it going to take to get in this, car today? And they're like, come on, man, let's buy. Right. That's pressure, right? Tension is different. So what I want to do is I want to create like a need to move forward through like the future pacing of success. And then I want to create a devastating sort of outcome of what reality looks like if they don't do anything about it in the truest sense of it. Like, what happens if you have no money, you have 4 kids, you have a wife, you have a mortgage, and all of a sudden they're charged with a $3,000 bill and they default on their mortgage and your house kicked out because you're a piece of shit dad that couldn't be bothered getting final expense insurance. Like, what a shitty outcome. Excuse my French. But that's the reality of the situation for a lot of these people. And for like $20 a month, like stop drinking beer, stop smoking cigarettes, stop drinking coffee. Boom, done. Right? So it's like, let's actually get our shit together and then let's make them think about the ramifications of their actions. So it's like by the positive force to move forward and the negative emotions of not moving forward, it creates tension inside, which creates urgency to fix the problem right now.
Can you literally just repeat what you just said? That was beautiful. So I can write that down.
Which bit?
The positive and negative. I
kind of blacked
like,
out for a minute.
The contrast between like the positive and the negative.
Where am I? Yeah. So you've got a positive influence, which is like your solution. So you're looking to take them forward to what it feels like in an associative way. So you've got associative and dissociative feelings. If I say, Anthony, what would it be like to be a billionaire, right? Or to be able to do X, Y, Z. And then I say, Anthony, what is it like when you, right? Then like, instead of envisioning yourself in the third person, you envision yourself in the first person, which is associative versus dissociative. So if I want to have a strong emotional connection to a thought or an outcome, I have to create an associative pattern behind it. Does that make sense? So let's just say we are able to help you put the protection in. How does that make you feel? Not how would it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Then they have to look up to the left and they have to think. They have to engage their creative side of their brain. They have to put themselves in that situation. Then from there, they are in the situation. And you'll see them look up and smile. That would be pretty cool. Right? That's how you know they're there. Then when you take that away from them and you make them actually potentially for the first time consider the actual consequence of not doing anything about it, then they will go, ugh. And they'll do what I call like a contemplative sigh. And that's how you know they've considered it. So now you've got a driving force to move forward and a terrifying fear of not moving forward, which creates an awful lot of tension inside someone to need to do something. And the good thing is you guys sell something that's actually good. There's nothing worse than teaching this to people who sell shitty things. Because if you do this right, you can sell anything.